not everyone deserves every part of you. And I was like, a little glitch happened in my brain of like, what do you mean? There's also some I get to keep for myself. And that's not selfish. That is self-preservation. Women aren't taught that. People aren't taught that. And that's something we have to come to terms with, which is why people are like, well, who do you think you are? And how could you be so selfish? I'm not being selfish. I'm preserving myself. I am keeping some of me for me, because at the end of the day, it's me who has to wake up, get in the shower, go to work, do the things, show up here for you for dinner. I get myself here.
Welcome to Normalize the Conversation by Inspiring My Generation. I'm your host, Francesca Regular. Today, I'm joined by poet, author, speaker, and artist Arielle Estoria, whose work has inspired millions to reconnect with themselves through the power of words. Her book, The Unfolding, invites readers to let go of who they think they have to be and come home to who they truly are. In this episode, we talk about people-pleasing, boundaries, burnout, friendship, and why saying no isn't selfish. It's self-preservation. If you've ever felt responsible for everyone else's emotions or struggled to choose yourself without guilt, this conversation is for you. Join us as we normalize the conversation.
Arielle, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited for our conversation, but before we begin, I want to check in. How were you really?
I love that question. Well, we were just kind of chatting about this before, of just feeling very lethargic this week, and not having my usual pep in my step. And I don't know if I'm pre-PMSing. I don't know what's going on, but I've just been allowing myself to move how I want to move. I am usually a 7:30 a.m., get up, go, get to my yoga class kind of girl. And this week we have slept in until about 8, gone on walks, maybe gone to a 9 a.m. or a 9:30 class, get to work when I get to work and not apologize for it. And so I'm coming out of, just being in that kind of week. And I'm excited. Today is like a Friday that's just, I feel good. I'm only doing the things I want to do. I'm going to clean up, just, get myself prepared for the weekend and for the rest of the week.
Is that hard for you to do, to be able to allow yourself to kind of sleep in and go kind of at your own flow and pace? Because for me, I get so critical of myself.
100%. Yes. I don't know if I would say it's hard anymore. I think I've gotten to the point where I have stopped trying to fight it. And I just am like, okay, body. Okay, mind, okay, heart, this is where we are this week. Noted. And I adjust accordingly. I think I've done the season of life, and I'll be 35 this year. So I am well past forcing myself to move in a way that doesn't feel authentic to me in a moment, in a day. And so Monday, I still went to my 7:30 strength sculpt class, and I noticed after that class, I was like, oh, I don't have it this week. It was very instant for me to clock myself Monday morning, So the rest of the week, I just was very intuitive to how my body was moving. Tuesday, I noticed I slept in, or actually, no, Tuesday, I couldn't sleep in because I taught 2 yoga classes back to back, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. So by Wednesday, I really was like, cool. We're sleeping in, we're moving when we're going to move. Maybe we just do class at home. And it's Friday today, and I have slept in till about 8, went for a walk, got dressed, got a coffee, and came here to speak with you. And so it's not hard anymore, because I've learned I have to listen to my body. And if I move counter to that, I am only going to do myself, my week, my productivity a disservice. So I might as well listen to it. Otherwise, it's just going to be madness for the rest of the day.
Not hard anymore. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, we're like, well, no, it's easy for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
More because it's something that we do learn over time. I'm getting to that place. I'm going to be 28 this month. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting to a place where I'm like, I said the other day to a friend, and she was like, "Who are you?" It's like, I don't have it in me to feel like I'm responsible for everyone else's emotional regulation. I don't have it in me
100%.
to feel like if someone calls me in the middle of the night every single night, that I have to sacrifice my sleep. If it happens every
Mm,
once in a while because they're not in a good place and they need support, I will be there because I'm your friend.
mm-hmm,
But there is a point where I can't sacrifice 3 a.m. day
mm-hmm.
after day after day till I can't function. And I
Yeah.
think that, well, this is the definition of being a good friend, but I'm not even
Mm,
showing up for you in the way that you need because I can't figure out,
right.
I can't see straight.
Right. And it's like, I mean, what you're experiencing is the coming into your 30s. You know, I feel like coming into your 30s is the first wave of like, oh, I can only hold space for me. I have spent the last 30 years probably holding space for other people, doing that emotional regulation for other people. And I mean, for me, it's like I'm an oldest child. So I have only known how to walk into a room. It's like, is everyone okay? How is everyone regulated? You know, regulating my mom, regulating my dad, regulating my sisters who don't have time to regulate myself. I just want to make sure everyone else is adjusted accordingly. And I've completely ignored myself. And so getting into my 30s, I got a lot of that. Like, you're being really selfish and you mean I'm taking care of myself? You mean for once I'm actually putting myself first? And with those moments of showing up for friends, if you don't have it at 3 a.m., you don't have it at 3 a.m. And being able to reframe it of, it's not that I'm not showing up. I just know that I will show up for you best if I am rested. If I am in a reactive mode, the way you're in a reactive mode at 3 a.m., no one's being helped here. And we're both sleep deprived. So that's not beneficial to anyone. So being able to be like, oh, wake up at 8 a.m. after you've nourished your body, you've had a good rest, and being able to come as a support in regulation. And also noticing that usually by that time, whatever the reactiveness of the situation was has dissolved. And there's a little bit more of like level ground of like, oh girl, actually it wasn't even that crazy. Or actually like friends, like I thought about it. I slept on it too. And here's where I'm at, and you get to meet them in the regulation and not always in the tension, in the fight or flight, in the reactiveness of it. I don't think it means being a good friend if you're always in the reactiveness of it. For me, I think I meet you best when I'm like, I voice memo friends and I'm like, actually girl, it wasn't even that big of a deal, but I'm still going to talk to you about it because you're my friend. And I do want to still hear your opinion, you know? And so I think that's a lot of moving into our 30s is being able to release like what's not ours to hold anymore.
Yes. And oh, what you said in the beginning, right? That feeling like you're selfish or people saying that to you, right? And
Mm-hmm,
like, what
mm-hmm.
happened to you? Why did you change? Why don't you care anymore? Are you even my friend? And I've come to realize over the past few months that I can't save anyone else. I
Mm-hmm,
there in a way that serves both of us.
mm-hmm,
If we'll listen, I
mm-hmm.
will sit with you in the storm, but I can't stop the storm. I can't pick up the umbrella for you, right? Like
100%.
I
Yeah.
can't do because I'm sacrificing myself. And then we're both sitting in the
Yeah.
storm, unable to
100%.
hold up that umbrella, unable to
Yeah.
take that step forward toward the sunshine.
Yeah.
If I don't sacrifice myself every day, I actually start to like more of who I am, but I also feel so lost because I don't know who I am without doing everything for everyone and feeling like I'm responsible to save everyone. I feel like I'm responsible to show up and
Yeah.
manage their emotions and be that person.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that is like those identities have been tethered to who we are because of the familiarity of a proximity to them, if that makes sense, right? So especially as women, especially as female identifying people, we have been given these containers that we are meant to be here to serve, to help, to hold space for everyone else, and then to completely ignore ourselves and our own well-being in the process, like our literal bodies have the ability, to some extent in various ways to give life, to bring about life. The whole idea of who we are is to bring nutrition, fruition, abundance into people's existence. That is a very powerful entity that we have the ability to do. With that responsibility, though, also comes the regulation to understand that we deserve some of that for ourselves too. And a lot of times we find ourselves in relationships that are contingent upon us being that availability to people, that openness to people, that servitude to people. And it is a gift that also needs wisdom and intention for knowing that, one, not everyone deserves that gift, and two, not everyone deserves all of us all the time. It is not your responsibility to hold that much for someone else. To hold someone's life in your hand you are not the divine. You are not God. That is not your responsibility. I'm here for you if you can also not manipulate me in the process. And a lot of times with us as women, we do get manipulated quite a bit because our heart is the thing we lead with. We lead with our feeling. We lead with our emotion. That is a strong suit. That is not a weakness. That is almost a superpower, that we are able to walk into a room and know exactly what everyone is holding and feeling. At the same time, though, we also get manipulated for that very thing. And I've wound up in many a situation where I'm like, how did I get here? And it all could have been solved if I had just said no, but I wasn't given a lot of the structure or the wisdom to know how to say no, that I have permission to say no. And we do. No is a powerful, powerful, powerful two-letter word that ends with a period. No. No, thank you. No, I'm good, thanks. No, that doesn't feel good for me in this season. No, I apologize. I can't show up for you in that way. And you could be sorry about it. And you could be sorry about it without the guilt attached to it. You can be sorry about it without the responsibility. Because I wish I could be someone who's just available to you, no strings attached. Not that person anymore. And I'm only changed because I've grown and I've learned that I deserve to hold some of that for me too. It's not necessarily change for change's sake. It's called growth. Feel free to try it sometime.
The idea of saying no without feeling like I have to over-explain myself. So fun to try to learn. And it is so easy. When you lead with your heart, when you lead with love, when you care so much for other people to sometimes take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And I used to blame myself so much for it. Right? Like, well, I'm doing something that's causing me to be in this relationship without recognizing that. Yes, and right, because I'm not setting the boundary. I'm not myself. But like you said, like leading with love. Like this is who I want to be and how I want to show up. So how do I balance that? Right? How do I say no and still get to stay true to myself? And that's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's the always changing, ever growing, journey. I think a lot of the women I meet in their 40s, I think they've reached it. They've reached it where it's like, I have done enough for everyone else. I have moved the way people have wanted me to move. And I was listening to a podcast earlier this week that was like, I don't think I've ever met any woman in their 30s, 40s who wished that they listened to other people more, who wish that they followed the opinions of other people. That is never one of their regrets, you know? And so I think getting to the point where we just learn every day, practice it every day. No is a full sentence. I don't have to justify why I'm saying no. I don't have to explain. And even that has been a practice. You know, I've had to say no to a lot of things this week because I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to leave work. I wanted to go straight to the beach. I didn't really want to go to that play. I didn't want to drive out there. And I'm just like, you know, thank you for the ticket, but I actually can't make it. I don't have to explain. I'm not feeling great. I'm not, because when we over explain, then we're trying to ask permission to say no when we over explain. And the thing is, we're not asking permission to say no. We're saying no. We just want the person to be like, it's okay, right? And all of that is just tethered to our need to feel good, appropriate, and pleasing or kind, you know? But oftentimes when we are kind to others, most times that also means that we're not being kind to ourselves. And so just remembering, like, no is a full sentence. It doesn't need a comma. It doesn't need explanation. And I'm worthy of saying no as a full sentence, period.
Oh, being able to just know, that's so, so we're taught to say yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Of course, we're taught to say yes. Of course. What else? You know, and my husband's really good at this. He made me practice it in the car.
Oh, but that just goes to show, like, so much we want to do everything for everyone else. And we want to be that helpful person, right? Like, I feel like for me, a lot of my value comes from helping people. I feel like my catchphrase, one of my friends always says, like, I knew you were going to say that. Because I go, oh, here to help.
Mm-hmm.
I find so much like self-worth in that.
Of course.
Forget to, I can say that to myself.
It's usually those things where you're like, if I'm on the fence, that's a no for me because I'm such a gut-driven person. I trust my insight. I trust my wisdom. So if I'm ever like, it's probably a no. And I've learned that from my husband where if he's ever like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, that's a no for him. You know, like I know his I don't know is a no because of how short and how clear of a person he is 99.9% of the time. So same for me. If it's ever like, oh, I'm on the fence, it's probably a no. And I just need to let that be a no. And I find that there's such a weight lifted too when you're like, oh yeah, I said no to that. And I feel great, honestly. There does get to a point where you start feeling that anxiety about trying to please everyone and be everywhere all at once. It's not possible. So you can't say yes to everything all the time. So what are we saying no to?
Yeah. Oh, my sister tried to teach me that lesson with shopping when I was younger. Like, if you don't have to have it, if you're like, oh, maybe if you can't imagine that outfit and when you're going to wear it, the answer is no.
Absolutely. That is a forever struggle.
Right? But I guess it applies. Like in life.
Absolutely.
Teaching me a life lesson. Who knew?
Yes. It's also like, for me, it's like, oh, that's cute. And it's like, but is that cute for you? You know, like it could be cute on another person. It could be cute on the mannequin. But like, do you actually see yourself having that in real time? And I'm pretty good at like, ooh, I know exactly what I would pair that with. I know exactly where I would wear that to. So if those things don't happen, we got to release it. It's not ours to have. And that's okay. I think a lot of it too is like that FOMO of like, we feel like we're missing out on something, but we're not. We're not missing out.
Oh, and that fear of missing out. And then that like fear of, you know, letting others down by not going. And then this idea that there's so much pressure, I think now for like, you have to have it all. No one says that to us, first of all, ever. No. It's like you have to wear all these different hats and do it well and do it balanced and show up to the world as if you're managing it all perfectly and effortlessly. It's human to be able to be and not be everything for everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. No other men aren't asked to be super. They are. I won't say that actually. Men are asked to be superhuman in a different way. And women are asked to be superhuman, you know, without the accolades. I think men are asked to be superhuman, but they get to be like, oh, look at you being a man. You know, for women, it's just like, look at you, like doing all the things you should be doing. You should be mothering and running a business and doing this and doing that. It's like, that is exhausting and also not sustainable. Like we will burn ourselves out so much sooner than we need to. And I think it's like to live a longer life means we got to let go of some of that stuff and not hold everybody's everything.
Yes. And you know, this is why I came across, I told you this before we started recording, but your I am poem. What I
Yeah.
love about it so much is that I identify myself by the things that I achieve and accomplish
Hmm.
in my work, but never acknowledging the actual pieces of me that make me me.
Hmm.
In it, you know,
Yeah.
say all these wonderful things, and then also like I can be hypocritical of myself, right? Like all
Absolutely.
coexist. And for
Absolutely.
me, I feel like I was taught that it was one or the other. Either
Hmm.
really happy or you were really sad. There's no in between.
Yeah.
It's black and white. And I just, you know, when I listened to that, I really
Mm.
realized how little I connect with myself because I see
Mm.
myself as the output that everyone else is looking in on and
Hmm.
what do I want them to see instead of
Hmm.
I want to see when I look in the mirror.
Yes, there is a quote. It's Walt Whitman, and it's from like a poem, and he says, "Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contain multitudes." And this has been a quote that I've come back to time and time again, especially when it comes to the pieces of I am. And that is one of my favorite poems, like I said in that video. And it's also really funny to me that that is like one of my least views, least engaged poems, but it led me to you, which I'm really just kind of freaking out and loving so much. But that poem is shapeshifted for me over the years because we are constantly changing, you know? So the I am poem is constantly changing. And one of the first ways I like to bring it to people is remove your identities in association to other people. So whether yes, you can tell me that you're a daughter, you're a sister, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a friend, you're a whatever. Yes, you can tell me those things. But then I want to know who you are underneath those things. I want to know when it comes to if I were to pull a bunch of ingredients to make up you, what would I put in there? You could put mom, daughter, sister, friend in there. Sure, that's like a very small percentage of what makes you up. But I also want to know, like, are you a silly goose? Are you creative? Are you insightful? Are you intuitive? Are you a little woo, a little weird? Like I want all that in there. Are you hypocritical? You know, and a lot of it for me, it's like I have been doing this work, you know, for 15 plus years now of like being a mirror to other people, of reminding other people that they're beautiful, that they're worthy, that their body is enough. And then I get home and I'm like, why are you wearing that? And who do you think you are? You know, like, and so that's where that hypocriticalness came from because I'm like, what are you doing? You know, like, how can you pour so beautifully into other people and you're so mean to yourself? And I had to reckon with that. And I think a lot of it is, you know, there's a lot of conversation about doing this shadow work and seeing that we are two-sided people. We are two-sided entity. There are varying aspects to who we are. Some of it is really kind. I also know that like in the same way my words can speak life, I am a girl with four other sisters. I can be mean when I need to be. I can hit the heart in the worst possible ways. And I know that about myself. And I have come to terms with those parts of myself. And with grace, I don't, you know, let my sharp tongue get the best of me. And it's just acknowledging like we can't always be perfect. And I think to close this conversation, or like this part, for myself, I did this play in high school. I played Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And that role was so hard because she is awful. She is really mean. And it was so hard for me to break that role. And my director and my teacher was like, there is a bish in everyone. And you need to learn how to embrace that. We contain multitudes and not all of those multitudes are pretty. They get a little messy. And that is the beauty of what makes us human.
Yes. And we're taught like the really positive consider things are the good things within us, and then everything else we need to get
Yes.
rid of. We need to hide away. We need to have shame toward. And that is something I've been learning to embrace. So my younger cousin and best friend, Sam and Bella, if you're listening, hello. Um, they make this joke that I went from being this complete like people pleaser, will do everything for everyone at like the drop of a hat. And then you like went into this Taylor Swift, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me era. I was like, kind of love that. I learned there were some things I could not take and could not do.
Yeah.
And everyone around me was like, well, you're being rude, you're being mean, you don't care about anyone else. And then I took that as, that's who I am. And yeah, sometimes I can be someone who really puts herself first. It's like, absolutely not. And hard boundary. It's hard, but I can do it with certain people. And I felt like I had to hide that. And then I had to overextend because I was taught that piece of saying absolutely not was wrong. That was bad. It's like, I can be helpful and I can be helpful for myself. And I guess that's the theme of this episode, right? Like, where I'm now
absolutely
stuck between is how do I manage both pieces of myself? So how did you begin to really do that with the,
can you put some guidelines instead of it being, I'm here to help, which creates this. Do you see how I'm here to help? You see how open and expansive, limitless, boundaryless? There's a lot of room for people to misinterpret that, manipulate, and take advantage of that. Can it be a reframe of, I'm here to help when I am able to. I'm here to help when I have capacity for it. I'm here to help with, get specific with what it is, And I mean, like I said, I am an oldest child. I grew up in a lot of Christian evangelical spaces where it was just like, give, 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 give. I watched my parents burn themselves out because they just extend. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if that's my ministry. Because when I give a lot. And when I do give, I probably give more than most people give in the majority of their lifespans. So acknowledging that also for myself, it's like, I am a giver. And when I do go above and beyond, like when I do give, I naturally go above and beyond for people. So I have to be really intentional about how I'm giving that energy to. Again, coming back to, it's not forever. You can't give that to everyone, and not everyone deserves all of you. That's something my husband said. I would like, I have a following, and I treat those people like those are my friends, So if they're reaching out that they're in Los Angeles, I'm getting coffee with strangers and I'm walking away really exhausted because I was just there to like pour into their cup. Like that wasn't for me. And my husband was like, not everyone deserves every part of you. And I was like, a little glitch happened in my brain of like, what do you mean? There's also some I get to keep for myself. And that's not selfish. That is self-preservation. And being able to reframe what is selfish versus self-preservation. If you want me to be here for you as a friend in the next 2 to 5 years, I gotta say no to this thing. And it's just in the moment. There's such a grandiose feeling of urgency that is probably unnecessary. And it's about weeding through that. And again, all of this comes with just living and learning and making the mistake of overextending yourself and being like, I'm exhausted. Why did I do that to myself? And having enough experiences where you've done the overextending thing and you vow to not move like that anymore. Because again, it's not sustainable. Women aren't taught that. People aren't taught that. And that's something we have to come to terms with, which is why people are like, well, who do you think you are? And how could you be so selfish? I'm not being selfish. I'm preserving myself. I am keeping some of me for me because at the end of the day, it's me who has to wake up, get in the shower, go to work, do the things, show up here for you for dinner. I get myself here. You needing me does not get me here. I get myself here. And and even you needing me, there still needs to be somewhat of an exchange. Friendships that only feel like they are just pulling from us or taking from us is not a friendship. That's not an exchange. That is a transaction. And I've gotten to the point where I don't want transactions. I want friendship. I want people who see me, who I walk away and I know I filled their cup as much as they filled mine.
I really, really appreciate you joining me for this episode and this
Yeah.
conversation. Like, I learned a lot. I've loved you too.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
As we are wrapping up, how can people connect with you, learn more about you?
Yeah, so everything is Arielle Estoria. That's ARIELLE and then ESTORIA. That's Instagram, TikTok, kind of. And then my website where you can find my book, The Unfolding, which I talk a lot about themes of what we talked about today, about just being able to undo and untether these conditional ways of existing from our identity and from who we are. So expect poetry and essays and also some reflection questions in there, as well as I'm on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. Most of what I do is spoken word poetry, so a lot of my poetry is meant to be said out loud, and I like throwing in some music in there as well.
Thank you so much for listening to Normalize the Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This podcast is an initiative of Inspiring My Generation, focusing on normalizing the conversation, bringing education and awareness to the forefront, and amplifying global voices to spark change and hope. Inspiring My Generation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization on a mission towards suicide prevention through awareness, conversation, education, and support. Connect with us on Instagram at Inspiring My Generation and visit our website, inspiringmygeneration.org, to learn more about our work and how you can make a difference.